Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
SRBMedia. Sit back and enjoy these tales from our friends whose company we've enjoyed over the years.
Semi-final, I definitely would have been left out. Nobby came into the team and Nobby got injured. And definitely I wouldn't have played in the semi-final if Nobby had been fit. Or the final, for that matter. And funny enough, I in the final, I had no nerves at all because I thought, I'm looking to be playing in this match because I knew if Nobby was fit, I was going to play. So I'm just going to go out and play. And I was okay. I played well in the final. But apart from the Charity Shield, that was my last match for Manchester. But I knew I had to go. I mean, Matt lost total confidence in me after the Spurs game. He never said a word to me. He didn't say, look, you're only young and you can come on and that. It was just out. And that was it. So it wasn't a happy time at that particular time.
You did have some happy summers with Nobby because Nobby is your brother-in-law. He married your sister, didn't he? So,
yes.
You had great times with Nobby. He was a great character, wasn't he? And again, reading your book, you would think that Nobby was a professor, not a footballer. He didn't look like a footballer. In fact, I think he come as a centre half originally for Man United.
He was always a wing half.
Was he a winger? Right.
Yeah, but he had bad eyesight. Nobby had the things in his eyes when they were like bottles. They at that time. But Nobby had a great attitude.
Yes.
He had a great attitude, and he was a really good, fine individual. Apart from being a fun, Nobby was a lovely character, and he loved Manchester United. He loved Manchester United, and it was strange at the time. I was in digs with Nobby, or in his house actually, at the time when this was going on. I mean, there's no doubt Nobby had to play in a match, I think 4 or 5 days before the cup final to prove his fitness, and he broke down. But Nobby, I definitely wouldn't have played in the final at that time if Nobby had been fit.
SRBMedia.
What happened when your house burnt down?
That's a classic, that is. It was funny, that.
What happened, Tone?
I'd my mates come up from Liverpool watch a game, and what happened on a Friday, mate? It was me shaking back day. What I mean by shaking back day is that I'd go out to training on a Friday.
Yeah.
I put some shaking back down, and I come home and do all the evenings. So my house was clean for the weekend. This me day. And it was one of the time we used to have roller locks under the stairs, and it was like papers in there and air sprays, not air sprays, aerosols like Pledge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what happened? Obviously, I didn't smoke. I had some tin waste paper bins. And a couple of lads come down with some. I said, if you're going to smoke, go outside and put the Dockers. Used to have Dockers then in the tin. It was, I said, look, I'm going out. Do the hoovering for us. And a couple of lads from Liverpool come. They're doing the hoovers. Lovely. Come on, everything nice. But what they went and done, they went and hoovered the cigarette stub up into the hoover. Obviously didn't think anything because they thought it was out into the hoover. And they obviously they done everything. They put the hoover under the stairs and. It just after the game, they went home. I went out. The lads. I went out for a meal with my girlfriend. And when I come back, the house had gone complete. I mean, the shell inside, it just completely, and utterly gone. And it was a cigarette stump because the vacuum had a bit of a. It wasn't. It's the air was in it, so it just got going and got the bit of dust inside it, and it just heated up. And then it got going, and it lit the flames. Went to the papers in there. Then the papers ignited the bottles in a container like this pleasure, and it just exploded, and it knocked the door out. Went up. If I would have been in the house, I wouldn't survive. But it's the smoke that caused the damage.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so that's it. That's what happened. So anyhow, cut long story short, I'm coming home and I'm coming to the drive, and I can see the police. I think, Jesus Christ, and they're very quick. If I've had a drink, like they're in there before I even get home, like, you know what I mean. And then I realised, and I thought, look, I saw Gordon Cowan's with his girlfriend on my driveway, and I saw a rubber plant. I thought, what? Nothing was sinking in. And then I saw the obviously when I said the red lights, the blue light, it was a fire engine. And I thought, what? It was shock. He couldn't sink. And then he told me, and I thought, okay, no, not better. Anyhow, I kicked this rubber plant up. It's the only time I could have trapped a rubber plant in my life. So obviously I'm in shock, and I'm thinking, well, my girlfriend went home, and Gordon said he went back, and he said, well, this was on a Easter. As you know, at Easter, and used to play 2 games. Used to play on Saturday and Easter Monday. We just played Forest on the Saturday. We're European champions. Beat them 2-0. Great result. So we're playing on the Monday at Stoke.
Yep.
So I've gone out for something to eat with my girlfriend on the night, but we're training on the Sunday. Obviously, and that night I couldn't sleep. I sleep in the car, but early in the morning I had to sort the doors. I had to go and see the damage and the smoke and all my clothes. I'd lost literally everything. I didn't save anything. And obviously a single bloke at that age then. The only thing they would say was a couple of cans of lager and a couple of pints of beer in the fridge, a couple of pints of of milk and a couple of cans of lager in the fridge, and me rubber dollar gone and everything that melted, a lot gone, you know what I mean. So I was a bit upset about hooking Gertrude. I never found her again, anyhow. So try again. I couldn't get up the stairs, and you can imagine I'm messing about trying to save things. There's nothing to save, everything gone. But obviously the soot and everything got on my clothes. I was in my hair, it was in my fingernails and everything. I think because you're in shock. So I've gone in for training, and Saunders obviously didn't know nothing about it, but he's seen me coming over, and he took one look at me. I mean, he must have guessed there's a problem. He didn't realise what it was, and he said, "Don't want to know your problem." He said, "I'm going to tell you this. I'm never going to say this to him. You're playing Monday. You're training today and you're playing Monday." Now, he's never told me everything before that. I was in the side before. I said, "Look, boss," he said, "I've lost everything. I had a fire at my house." He said, "We don't pay for that, son. We pay to play football. Once your problem sorted out on next week, go in the hostel tonight, youth hostel down there." And Matt said, you're the first on my team sheet for, and that's what he said to us. He said, "We don't pay for that. We pay to play football, mate, and you had to go and play." And I'm glad he did do it that way, because he could have said, "Well, just forget it," you know what I mean? But he didn't. And the funny thing about it was, I had no clothes. All my clothes had gone. And I remember my girlfriend's father at the time. It was big waist at the time. He used to have the flare trousers and stuff like that. Probably the same you got what you're at the moment, mate. You know what I mean? So nothing changes. So I've had to borrow some trousers off him. We were a bit short. I had some oxblood shoes on. I still having light grey socks. I've had to go to a jumble sale on the Monday to try and get on the Sunday, try and get some clothes. And I've got these, and the waist's too big, my trousers. So I've had to borrow some braces. I've got a shirt that's ridiculous. I've got a big kipper tie and a check coat. I look like Charlie Caroni. I really did. And I just thought, this is ridiculous. This is. So I've got on the bus, and all the lads are just taking the piss out. There's no sympathy in that. They're just taking the piss, you're not sitting with us, blah, blah. And it was a time that you used to go on the pitch, and you'd always check your own little patch out. You'd always, put your foot down for divots, because the pitch is not like they were now. You're coming, Easter time, the pitch is going to be a bit rough. So you're checking your... And I can still remember to this day when I was my hands were in the pockets because the trousers were too big. And the brace was on. I was trying to pat me thing, and my braces kept flying off. And I thought, fucking don't believe this. I don't believe this. I look like a clown, me hanging down my bleeding legs and everything. And they've got no sympathy, anything at all. You know what I mean? And but that was it. You just had to get on with it. But I just thought we went away to Stoke, and I think I made the goal. I think Alan Evans scored, and I made the goal. So I've got to be honest with you. That game, I was on fire, mate. No, we got back on the bus, and the lads just took the piss, you know what I mean? Took the mickey. I shouldn't say took the mickey. And they were saying, we don't smoke. You got a light? And I think, just shut up with you, because there's no sympathy, it was just, it was an experience, I lost everything, and that was it, you get on with it, don't you? Then from losing everything, I got the best prize I could do, so 3 or 4 months later, but it was an experience.
So where did you live then, Tony? If you had the
I lived in Streatley. I lived in Streatley, but I had to go. The club had a hostel on the Chester Road.
Right, okay.
And I had to go there until my house got sorted out. So I had to go back into the hostel. And I can still remember one time in the hostel, Brian McClure and all them lads, they've all been great players. I was there one day, and all of a sudden it started to hit me about this, and my house is blah, blah, blah. And they had a cat in the hostel. And it was on the phone, and there was no mobile phones, I remember. And the phone was on the wall.
Yeah. And
the phone went, and Jim, I think it was, Jim Williams, he was there, turned the phone. So I got into the hall, and I don't know, somebody from back home phoned up, and I was on there for about 5 minutes. And when I come back, because all lads used to eat together in this big table, when I come back, the bleeding scabby cat was eating me dinner, wasn't it? And nobody was saying anything to it, like, and I thought, it just dummied me. I thought I was going to strangle the cat, like, you know what I mean? So I thought, that puts it all in. Yeah, I've lost my house, lost everything else, and even the cat's now eating me bleeding dinner, like, you know what I mean? And
SRBMedia.
And you were that good in the air, the Burnley fans nicknamed you the Kestrel, didn't they?
Yes, well, I only found that out afterwards, after I'd left. It was strange. You find out these things. I didn't know that's what they call me. But yeah, that's a nice little accolade. And it was my pride and joy, really, because I used to enjoy playing against centre halves who were about 6'6". Yep. Because I could always get up there first, and I found that if you was the first to challenge for the ball, if they jumped up after you, they almost lifted you up and kept you up there. So it was a happy time for me, and I just loved playing alongside Frank Casper.
And it was 60,000. It was a Burnley club record in 1971, in the March of 1971. Now, what was your experience and your memories of meeting Bob Lord and talking through the transfer and what your wages were going to be? Because I remember watching a DVD many years ago when you was telling this story, and I was rolling about laughing.
Well, it was quite frightening, really, because you were told you were being transferred. So the way that it worked was Nat Lofthouse said, be at the club at 2:00 and get your dad with you, because we're selling you to another club. Yeah. And just to let you know, if you don't go, Bolton Wanderers are going bankrupt. So there's no club, no point staying. So you have to go, because we need the money that we're going to get from you. And see you at 2:00. He didn't say which club it was, but he did say, it's a great club. You'll love it. It's a great club. And I remember him saying those words. So we're going over there, going through Bake-Up, and I'm thinking, well, and then, of course, on the way there, they say it's Burnley Football Club, and there's a new manager there. The old manager, Harry Potts, is sort of retiring. Jimmy Adamson is the new manager, and that's who I met. So we're all talking quite quietly in the dressing room. And then who walks in? But this incredible figure of Bob Lloyd, the club chairman. Yeah. And he didn't even shake my hand. He didn't even say hello or acknowledge my...
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Father, he walked up to me and he literally wagged his finger in front of my face. And he said, you're on 80 quid a week, extra 50 quid if we win. If you don't score 20 goals a season, you're on your bike back to Bolton. Have you anything to say? And he was like, oh. and as he said, have you anything to say? He took his hearing aids out. He had 2 great big black hearing aids, and he put both his hearing aids on my contract. And he said, if you have anything to say, I can hear bugger all. And that was it. So we all just stood there around this boardroom table. So I cheekily wrote my name on the contract without going any further. And I thought, you crafty, and I whispered under my breath, you crafty old bugger. But I was obviously pleased to sign for Burnley. And the next minute, Bob Lloyd, he's whipped my contract up. He wanted to get out. He was on his way somewhere. He put it in his inside jacket pocket. He picked up his old black ivory hearing aids. He screwed them back in his ear. He picked up his cigar and he looked at me. He says, welcome to Burnley Football Club. If they wants to do well, here, lad, take my advice. Score plenty of goals, keep yourself out of bother, and never call the chairman a crafty old bugger again.
SRBMedia.
Well, first schoolboy error there, a little bit like Colo Torre when he passed the ball across his goal line.
Yeah.
You were saying Browne would have given me the marching orders there for that big fella.
If you'd have been interviewing Clough now, you'd have been on your way. Hey, up it.
Was he that strict?
He was strict. He was. Yeah. It depended what mood he came in. I mean, I loved him. I got on great with him and had some fair old tussles with him. He used to make me laugh. I couldn't stop laughing at him half the time. But yeah, for me, people talk about the all-time greats. He's certainly, in my time, he was the greatest manager. I think it's the greatest British manager I competed against anyway.
How difficult was he? Because you had quite a few, I wouldn't say set twos, but you must have had one or two shenanigans with Clough.
Not really, no. I tell you what, when I was at West Brom, I got on great with him.
Yeah.
Then when I went to Manchester United, apart from business, he totally blanked me. Wouldn't come and have a drink afterwards. But that wasn't just me; that was everybody. Mm-hmm. It was something he had this thing against the big clubs, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal. You know, he had this, if you like, a siege mentality. When I left United, 2 weeks after I left United, I bumped into him at the City Ground, Nottingham. I was doing a game for television. And the first thing he said to me was, hey, come on, let's go and have a drink. And one of my mates said, well, what about the previous 6 years? I said, well, that's Clough. You know, it wasn't me. It was the very fact that it was Manchester United. He had this, if you like, siege mentality against.
And he seemed to have that with Leeds United and any big type of club. Let's talk briefly before we go back to the dairy on Goodison. When you were at Albion, you had, I remember you telling me a while ago, a situation with Clough and the dugouts.
Oh, yeah.
Brian had his special dugout, didn't he?
Well, yeah, it rebounded on me years later, but what it was, when you used to play at the City Ground, the visiting dugout, the tunnel was right down the end, right down in one corner where the teams came out. The visitors' dugout was to the left of that. Browne used to have his own dugout right on the halfway line. Yeah. Subsequently, you might as well have been sat on a boat in the Trent watching the match. You know, you're that far away. And I remember commenting one day after we played them there about it, and it was Peter Taylor actually burst out laughing. He said, well, you know what that's for, don't you? A bit later on in the season, we played them back at the Hawthorns, and the Hawthorns, then the main stand was being rebuilt. So, and only by the time we played them, only one half of the ground had been built, one half of the stand, and that included the home team dugout. So what they did on the other side of the tunnel, where the teams came out, they put a temporary dugout for the visitors. There, the match I went in, and I said to the ground, see that dugout, take it and put it right in that far corner amongst all those JCBs and diggers and all sorts. And it was bucketing down with rain. And, you know, fortunately we beat them 2-1 as well. But as I'm all stood in the dry in decent suit and overcoat, and they come tramping up through tyre tracks and all sorts. And I just nodded and went, it's all right down there, isn't it? Then I cleared off. Funnily enough, years later when I did that, when I went to Forest, I actually, because I'd only ever been to Forest as a visitor, when I walked along, the first day I went there with the Arsenal match, when I was manager, when on my first home debut, I was walking along that front there and I saw the dugout, and remembering that they'd only had one dugout, jumped in there. Well, I jumped into the Arsenal dugout, hadn't I? But they'd been forced to put two dugouts on the halfway line as a sort of concession to the Premiership rules. So it rebounded on me a little bit there, but caused a few laughs anyway.
incredible. What also was incredible was your goal against Everton at Goodison. Voted goal of the season as well. That must have been, if you could replay one of the games of that season, would I be right in saying it would have been that game?
Yeah, not for the goal.
Right, okay.
For the performance of the lads in Everton, because Everton was always a hard place to go to. Little ground, passionate supporters on top of you, a great stadium to play in because you can sense the atmosphere. It's like a coliseum. You go in there and the stands are up there, and and they're on, and they buzz Everton. The first 20 minutes they come at you because the crowd demand that, and it was just the overall performance. We were superb. There's only one performance we put in better than that one. That was that when we beat Liverpool at home. I'm convinced we beat Liverpool at home. But that one against Everton, Saunders said, have you heard the story of what were leading up to that? Well, I'll go to it. Let's be honest. One of Saunders' magic tricks again. On the Friday, Saunders always do set pieces and free kicks, for and against, mainly against. So what he used to do, he used to have sort of the people who weren't playing, squad players, in the wall. So the first team lads would practice the free kicks.
Yeah.
And he'd always give a bib to the lads who weren't playing. So he's come up to me and he said, I said, well, what do you want me to do with that? I said, you weren't it, you're in the wall. I can take the piss, any. So you're in the wall. And the lads are looking at me saying, what's happening? He's in the wall. And what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And obviously, they were taking the free kicks. I've got no interest then of trying to stop a ball. Ball's coming to, I'll just let it go. Because I thought, I couldn't get around my head. I've been consistent all that season. I missed a game and I've done well. And then I was walking off. He said, you're not playing tomorrow, Anthony. I'm shocked. Like, why? He said, well, I know you like such a hard game tomorrow at Everton. Like, we need 11 proper pros. Like, they're going to be on it. He said, I know what you're going to be like. You're going to be back home with all your friends and your family there. You're going to be showing off. You'll be doing your little flicks and doing this and that. We can't have that. We need 11 pros. We've got to get a result tomorrow. They're going to be at us and blah, blah, blah. So I think it's better if you just sit on the bench and, we'll get something. I'm gutted. I'm thinking... And he just walked away, so you're not playing. Simple as that. For that reason, because I'll be too flash. I'll be trying to do things, and honestly, and don't forget, it wasn't the time then. You didn't have mobile phones like that, so I was phoning home to people. I said, "Look, I'll get you tickets, but I'm not playing." So why? So I told them, and I was absolutely gutted. Everton's my team. I had loads of family and friends there, and I wanted to play in front of them at Goodison and all that. It was only natural. Anyhow, so we've gone through. I didn't sleep that night. I'm well pissed off. We've gone up to Liverpool and having a meal, and had a meal, and still hasn't named anything. And we've gone to Goodison Park, and I'm dejected. I'm at the back of the bus. My head's gone. I'm thinking, I can't believe this. The lads know that I'm a bit peed off with the situation, so they're staying away from me. Yeah. So we've gone in the dressing room. He's coming as usual. Took his gloves off as usual. Whacked them down, and he said, I've had a change of mind. He said, I think the young lad, I think it was Pat Hurd, I might have been Pat Hurd, I can't remember. I don't know. I think the young lad, Pat, because he just come from Everton, I think the young lad, Pat, might be a bit too much for him going back. I think, Tony, you're back in the side. Well, my head had gone. And all he'd done, once again, a master stroke. He'd wind me up and and I just want to get out there and just show him what a prat he was. And actually, the first 2 or 3 minutes and 5 minutes, I got the ball. And they could have put 20 defenders on me, and nobody's going to get the ball off me then. And I was going to hit it. And the shot, to be fair, it just, as soon as it hit my foot, of course, I didn't mean to go in that top corner, but I meant to hit the target, you know what I mean? All these people say they aim for the top corner, pros, the liars. You just aim for the target, make sure you hit the target, and you got a chance. But as soon as it left me foot, you knew it was going to be a good save, or it was going to be a good goal. A bit like a golf shot, you can hit the golf, you hit the sweet spot. And he went in, and then my usual, I gave him 2 fingers, you know what I mean, and went mad. But he'd done his job. He wound me up. I was like a bottle of pop. I was waiting to explode. And the rest of the game, I'm saying, he ain't going to take me off in front of my family. No way at all. No. So you dug in. And I think the overall performance was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I got goal this season, but I think it was for the move more than anything else, really, because I don't think the ball left the floor. And then he ended up in the top corner, really. So, I'm very grateful for that, Once again, one of Saunders' tricks again. He got the best out of it. He never said nothing to me on the way home. He never said, well done, well played. And he pulled me in his office on Monday morning. He said, Anthony. I thought, here we go again, Anthony. The dreaded Anthony's coming on. Anthony, I've got to say, I thought the best I've seen you play for 1 or 2 games. It wouldn't say for that. He said 1 or 2 games, blah. He said, but I'm afraid I've got to fine you £100. What are you talking about? He said, what do you do after you scored a goal? I just said I'm going to score another one. He said, no, you're being disrespectful. You put your fingers up to me. All right, go out and train, I'll fine you £100, but well done. I couldn't believe I got goal this season. I got £500 for it. And I realised years later, and I got goal of Europe as well in Berlin. I'd done the same. I got fined £100 for that. And I realised why Saunders had that £1 million house in Solihull. It was all the fines he was getting off me, like, you know what I mean? So
SRBMedia.
Up came Jock, and I said to him, "You've been upstairs, Governor?" And he went, "No." He said, "What?" Because I believe he's an ex-alcoholic, Jock. Yeah, I think so. And they didn't drink. I said, "Well, come upstairs, come on." And so we went back. So I wasn't allowed to go up there twice because, we've been told. So we were there, and I knew what was going to happen. I was having a lovely chat with Jock. I was close to heaven when I'd been on a big Boeing right up high in the sky. I mean, standing with Jock, and he reminded me so much of Waddington. It was untrue. It was like I was standing there with a pair of them, and then all of a sudden, I just see this head pop up from the stairs, and he said, "You do realise you've been up here once?" And I looked at Jock, and he looked at me, and he kind of got the message, Really, is that what happened, And I just said, "Terry, no, I just needed a moment. It's been that long since I've seen a decent manager." And his face was like, and Jock looked at me and he went, "I don't think you should have done that." I said, "Well, what do you expect me to do?" So that was just enough. So that was kind of the last time I spoke to him before we got to Melbourne, and the next time was when he sent the message along that we were going home.
A reminder, you can catch all our podcasts on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all major podcast platforms. SRBMedia.
School is back, and Dick's Sporting Goods has what you need to win your year. Shop the hottest styles from the best brands like Nike, Jordan, FP Movement, Adidas, and Stanley. Stop by your local store or visit Dicks.com for fast shipping. Now you're ready to win your year.